Alright, today we're going to talk about frequency and histograms. First thing you want to know about is what is frequency, and you want to understand what frequency actually is. So consider how it's worded, or how the word is used when they ask how frequently do you cut your grass, how frequently do you visit the doctor, how frequently do you check your Facebook status. It just means how many times does something occur. Alright, so when you talk frequency, frequency just means how many times something happens. We will be asked to make a frequency table and a histogram in this lesson, and you want to write this down for yourself, where frequency again means how many times a value occurs, and a histogram is just a graph of a frequency table. So when they say make a histogram of this data, it means you're going to have to make a frequency table first, which just tells you how many times each value occurs, and then you have to make a graph of that in order to get your histogram done. So with that understood, like I said, stop me if you don't have or have not had time to write all this down, but other than that, I think this is one of those things that's easy enough and best learned by just doing it. So it says the numbers of home runs home runs by batters in a home run derby are listed below. Create a frequency table that represents the data. So what we do here is we have to actually kind of look, and again, when we do a frequency table, we don't look at each individual number. What I do first is I look for the range. So the lowest number here to me, I believe, is 2. And the highest number that I see here is, I believe, 17. And so that means I'm looking at somewhere around anywhere from 1 to 20 as my range. So what I'm going to do is break my range, or break my frequency table into a certain range. So my range is the first part that I would write, and the frequency is how often that range occurs. So my first range, and I have to make sure I cover everything, is I'm going to go from 1 to 4. You could also go 1 to 5, but I wouldn't go any further than that because this range is so small. But 1 to 4, which means I start now at 5 and then go up to 8, and then my next range would be from 9, because that's the next number, up to 12, and then my next range would be from 13, because that's the next number, up to 16, and then 17 up to 20. So again, your range should cover everything. Notice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Every number needs to be covered here. Now what you do is you count your frequency. So counting 1 through 4, here's 1, 2, 3. I don't think I see anything else in that range, so there are 3 of those. Counting 5 to 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think I missed anything, so 1, 2, 3, 4 values in that range. Counting 9 to 12, here's 1, here's 1, here's 1, there's 1, that's another 4. 13 to 16, 1 here and 1 there, so that's 2. And then 17 to 20 is just a 1 right here. Alright, so adding these up, 3, 7, 11, 13, 14 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I know I caught everything. That is a frequency table. Now you have to make a frequency table on your test. Again, it doesn't matter if you use 1 to 5, 6 through 10, 11 through 15, 16 through 20. You could do that range if you wanted to also, but again, the bottom line is I have to see you make a frequency table. But the second thing it's going to ask you to do is make a histogram. And here's what a histogram looks like. You simply draw one of those basic XY value charts, and you use your range 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20 as your cutoff points. That is your range, and again, you need to label this as your range, and this would be your frequency. Notice that my highest number is 4, which means I need to count up to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what you do for a histogram is 1 through 4 goes to 3. And so you go up to 3, and you pretty much make a rectangle, and the rectangle has to cover all the way over to 4, because that shows that the values from here all the way up to 4 have a frequency of 3. From 5 to 8 we went up to 4, so what we do here is for 8 we go up that same line up to 4 and straight down to meet 8. Again, the rectangles have to touch. From 9 to 12 we have another 4, so we keep going over and straight down to the 12. From 13 to 16 we have a frequency of 2, so from there we put our best interpretation of where 2 would be and draw that part. And then for 17 to 20 we have a frequency of 1, which would be somewhere around here. That is a histogram. And so notice that your histogram is just a visual of the frequency table, which is really just what you're going to do. Just make sure you label your range, label your frequency, and that your numbers represent your endpoints. If you would have used this, then it would have been 5, 10, 15, 20, and you would have just used those same types of rectangles to get that done. Alright. Looking at problem 2, same thing. Data below represents the number of hours per week students spent watching television. They want a histogram of the data. Well, they just don't ask for a frequency table, but in order to make a histogram you have to make a frequency table. So I need to look at my range first, 0 being my lowest. Looks like 22 is my highest, so I have to get up to about 25. So in this case I'm going to go, well, it's going to be a little different, but 0 to 5, 6 through 10, 11 through 15, 16 through 20, 21 through 25. And I know you'll say, well, 0 through 5 is a little bit off, but anytime 0 is included, your future teachers will give you more of an idea. But like I said, I just like going either by 5s or by 4s. But since we're going up to 20, I didn't want to do an extra range there. Usually about 4 to 5 is good, and so I just went 0 to 5 and then just counted by that way. But again, this is my range, which I will need to see for your histogram to count, and this is your frequency. So now we count 0 to 5. There's 1, sorry, I'll start over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. From 6 to 10, 1, 2, 3, 3 of those. 11 to 15, ooh, I'm tripping. There's 4 of those. That's on there. So 11 to 15, here 1, 2, 3, 4. 16 to 20 is none. And then 21 to 25 is just the 1. So again, a real quick check: 6, 10, 14, 15, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, which means I got that right. Now we make our histogram. Again, our range number should be based off of this, which is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And our frequency has to go as high as our highest number, which is 6. And from there you simply just translate this over. So 0 to 5 goes up to 6. So that's this first range here. And we make sure that goes up to 6. 6 to 10 goes to 4. So we meet this at 4. And again, your rectangles have to touch, otherwise it's not a histogram. 11 to 15 also goes to 4. So we make these two things match. 16 to 20 has 0. 21 to 25 has 1. And that would be your histogram for that information. So again, it's not a tough situation for you to do. You just got to make sure you understand how to do the actual steps, which you're going to get practice on that today in class. Last thing I want to talk about real quick is the cumulative frequency. Anytime you're talking something that is cumulative, it means that you are keeping a count overall. So cumulative frequency, and go ahead and write this down, keeps track of how many data values have reached a certain point. So all you have to really do is add the number of values to that number of values that were already used. So what we're going to do is create a histogram with a cumulative frequency for the following values. So it just means that we're going to have something in our frequency table that keeps track of it. Our histogram, actually we won't even do the histogram part. We will focus on the frequency table part, not really the histogram. But looking at this, the range of these values is 29 looks pretty low. I don't think that's 28 is the lowest, and 62, 71, 72. So 72 to about 28. So I think what I would do is just count by 10. So 20 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, 60 up to 69, and 70 up to 79. I don't think I see any 80s in this group, and if we do, we'll fix that. But again, this is your range. this is your frequency, but anytime you're talking cumulative frequency, that goes all the way at the edge. Alright, so again, looking at this, this is all we have to do, 20 through 29. Again, I don't think I see anything in the teens. So 1, 2. So there's 2 numbers in 20 through 29. Overall, for your cumulative part, that means we've used 2 values. Again, cumulative frequency means how many numbers have we had up to this point. Well, if 2 are here, then we have 2 numbers at that point. 30 through 39, that's 1 more, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, looking back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 numbers in between that, like our frequency table, but our cumulative frequency means that we've used 2 plus 5, which means that we've used 7 values so far up to this point. Again, that's all cumulative frequency is. Add this number to how many have been there, and there you go. 40 to 49, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that range, which means that we've used 2, 7, 12 numbers altogether. That's your cumulative frequency. 50 to 59, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more of those, which means that we've used 17 numbers altogether. Again, 2, 7, 12, 17 is my cumulative frequency for this part. 60 up to 69 is 1, 2, 2 more of those, which means that we've used 19 numbers altogether, because 17 plus 2 is 19. And then 70 to 79 would be 2 more, which means that I've used all 21 values here just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 21 values there. My cumulative frequency reaches 21. That means that that is it. That's all I have to do. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to give you a worksheet with some data, and you're going to make frequency tables, histograms, and all that good stuff, and then we'll go from there. Now you will see the Math Excel work on this on tomorrow's assignment because we don't have computers, but on tomorrow's assignment you'll see this, but I don't think it should be that tough for you. Other than that, let's go ahead and get started on our work.